My goodness, my goodness. My muscle memory is great. Listen, you all, I have been doing sit ups and squats for the past week or so, and surprisingly, my body has responded well. Well, at least for the most part, I still have a few aches and pains, but overall, I'm doing all right. How are you doing on this 284th day of 2022? Did you know that this is International Day of Girl? That one day in the year where girls are celebrated. Yeah. And it's also the day where we can raise awareness about the issues and disparities that they face globally, like lack of educational opportunities, poor nutrition, forced child marriages, violence against them, and more. And the theme this year for International Day of Girl is Digital Generation, Our Generation. And the whole point is to highlight the divide around connectivity and online safety, which of course the girls are facing, and it causes economic and social barriers to the internet and device access. So happy International Day of Girl, and do your part to kind of raise awareness about what these young girls across the globe are doing on the positive and overcoming on the negative. All right. All right. Well, welcome to another edition of Maryland's Cafe Society Radio on YouTube. All right, and it's going to be a real short show, everybody. And we're going to go ahead and get into our cafe talk. Well, we're not going to get into it. I'm going to at least tease it and let you know what the talk is going to be about. And as usual, the routine, chime in on the social media or the comment section of the YouTube video. So it is, do you prefer daylight saving time or standard time? And this is a repeat question. We did talk about this back in the spring, and there was a whole reason behind that. And so we'll get into it a little later after we get into cafe news. And speaking of which, let's go ahead and get into the cafe news segment. It appears that layoffs is another word for the month of October. Why? Well, because major companies are beginning to send workers home, or I should say, in some cases, are continuing to send workers home. General Electric is slashing, I should say, hundreds of jobs at its onshore wind turbine unit here in the United States. And Peloton is cutting staff for the fourth time this year. The latest round affecting about 500 workers. Wells Fargo laid off workers and has cut more than 400 staff in its home mortgage division since April. Gap cut 500 corporate positions, and even our big tech companies like Meta and Google have had some layoffs as well and cuts. Even Walmart and FedEx have let go some corporate staff. So, is this an indication of where we're headed in the next few months? We're getting all the economic forecasters and those individuals in the business world forecasting the impending recession. They're saying we're going to get into a deep recession. Is it going to happen? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see and watch. But with all of these layoffs and cuts with these businesses, we have to wonder what's going on. I think some of the things that are happening is, the workforce, or I should say, the types of work that a lot of these corporations need. The positions are changing. Everything's becoming more tech driven. And, some of the workforce is getting older, and what happens in those instances is for people who aren't necessarily ready to retire, sometimes they're forced out through these layoffs and job cuts. So I think a lot is going into what's happening with it, but we'll continue to follow it and keep you updated. All right. So imagine this scenario. You receive an emergency alert on your phone from your loved one's iPhone saying that they have been in an accident. Now, that is what has happened recently when an iPhone flew off the handlebars of a motorcyclist's bike. Yeah, the cyclist had to make an abrupt stop, and as a result, the phone was discharged from the handlebars and went airborne. And because of a new function, which has been a huge selling point for the Apple iPhone 14 and Apple smartwatch, it sent off an alert to his two emergency contacts as well as 911, indicating that the owner of the phone has been involved in an accident. These sensors were put in the phones and the watches to detect a crash and hopefully, get help to the owners of the iPhone or watches in a quick manner and, potentially saving lives. Well, some 911 communication centers are calling these erroneous phone calls that they're getting a waste of resources. Yeah. They say when they send these emergency responders out to the phone's location, in these particular cases where it's, just a glitch, uh, and turns out to be a false alarm, they're wasting their time and effort. In fact, Warren County Communication Center in Ohio has said that they've received 6 calls already from iPhones from individuals who were on rides at the Kings Island amusement park. So how these rides at the amusement park goes. They're up and down and they're jerky and all of this. And I guess it sets that signal off in the owner's iPhones and makes the phone thinks that they have been in an accident. And of course, the alerts go out to the emergency contacts and to 911. And then when 911 arrives on scene, it's a false alarm. And so they're not happy about it, but overall, the owners are pleased with it because it just lets them. It makes them aware of the fact that this particular new function works. It works, and it will potentially save their lives or hopefully someone's life if in fact they do indeed become involved in some kind of accident or whatever. So it just sounds like it's a little glitch or something that the iPhone makers have to work on, tweak it a little bit to make it more precise and to be able to detect a crash versus just fast movement or emergency stop or whatever. So we'll watch it and try to see if it is something that they work on. Now, is 6 calls within a month too much for one 911 communication center? I don't know. In the grand scheme of things, when you think about all the folks that live in that area that may have an iPhone, maybe 6 calls is not a lot. But I get what they mean when they talk about their time and their resources. And, you don't want to be out on a false alarm when someone else is really, really in need of true emergency help. So we hope they get it all worked out on the iPhone. But it sounds like it's a great, great idea. A good thing that they had built in to those phones. All right. And so let's go ahead and get into our cafe talk for today. And again, the question is, do you prefer the daylight savings time or standard time? And, I guess some folks are like, well, I don't even know what the difference is, Marilyn. And so I kind of pulled up, let's see if I can get to this article and just read a little bit of about the difference. And in my head, I was trying to remember, just on my own what time of the year, how that works. I know daylight savings time is just what it says. We get more daylight, in the morning and in the evenings or at night, but compared to standard time, how will that work? And so let's just read a little bit about daylight saving time and Central Standard Time. Let's go to, this article says, and this is according to timeanddate.com, it says daylight saving time is the practice of setting the clocks 1 hour ahead of standard time to make use of more sunlight during the spring, summer, and fall evenings. The benefits of it is to save energy and to make better use of daylight. And it first was used in 1908 in Canada. And let's see. Then there's standard time. And so the article says that the Standard Time Act of 1918 was the first federal law that implemented standard time and daylight saving time. The United States Department of Transportation says federal oversight of time zones began in 1918 with the enactment of the Standard Time Act, which vested the Interstate Commerce Commission with the responsibility of establishing boundaries between the standard time zones in the United States. This responsibility was transferred from the Interstate Commerce Commission to the Department of Transportation when Congress created the Department of Transportation in 1966. So there apparently are 2 states here in the United States that do not observe daylight saving time, and that is those are the states of Arizona and Hawaii, and also Puerto Rico, the United States Virgin Islands, American Samoa, Guam, and Northern Marianas. All right, and so anyway, some of the pros for daylight savings time is, again, that we would have more daylight, obviously, which is the whole point. And supposedly we would save more energy, people wouldn't lose sleep, et cetera, et cetera. And so the whole point, I think, from our conversation that we had back in the spring as we were approaching the jump to daylight savings time was the news release that came out that said that the United States Senate had put together what they called the Sunshine Protection Act. It was actually a bill that was introduced by Senator Marco Rubio from Florida. And the bill would permanently extend daylight saving time from 8 months of the year to the full 12 months of the year. And so it was introduced and it passed the Senate, and now it's kind of stalled in the United States House of Representatives. And, the president has not made it an issue to push to sign into law either. And so I don't know, the jury's still out on this one. And again, some folks are trying to figure out which is better. Would it be the standard time that's better or the daylight savings time? I think the whole point of the daylight saving time is that it's better. For 8 months, we get more daylight. And so I am one of those who would prefer to stay in the daylight savings time zone for, time year round. I'm going to pay special attention when we jump back to standard time, just to see if there's any good or anything good about it. But again, obviously, I think the daylight saving time is the best because we get the 8 months of more daylight as opposed to I think it would be cut down to maybe 4 months of daylight or 6 months of extended daylight, something like that. So anyway, that's my take. I would prefer daylight saving time. What's your preference? You want to stay on daylight saving time, or would you prefer just going back to standard time and staying there? Chime in the comment section here on the YouTube video or on the social media posts where you might find this video posted, or of course, as always, just for conversation. For those who like to call me and check in, you can call me or send an email to me and we can talk about it. All right. All right. Well, that's all I got, everybody. I've had a busy day and still have a few other things I gotta run and get done. So before we wrap up the show, I do want to remind you of the October word. It's erumpet, and it means bursting forth or through a surface. Erumpet. All right. And, as always, you can promote your business, your service, your product, your brand, your persona, whatever it is that you want to sell, promote, or get the word out about. Just send an email to producer@Maryland'sCafeSociety.com. Remember, we have the Christmas giveaway that's coming up. Can't wait to do that. And I'm still putting together something so that we can bless a family or two, in addition to just the fun giveaways that we're going to be doing. But if you're a business or just an individual and you want to support that effort, producer@Maryland'sCafeSociety.com is how you get in touch with me to get all the details. Remember, you can go to the website too, Maryland'sCafeSociety.com. Check out the videos as well as connecting with me on social media, the blogs, and all of that stuff. YouTubers, thank you so much for checking me out. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and join the email club, Maryland's Cafe Society at yahoo.com is how you become a part of that. Just say, sign me up. And you'll be getting those Monday morning / afternoon emails. Some are humorous, some are inspirational, but it's just real quick and short, and you'll enjoy it. So again, it's Maryland's Cafe Society at yahoo.com. And before we go, we gotta put it out there. What is love? Love is, on this show, our incredible, amazing Father God, our Heavenly Father. All right. All right, everybody. So have a great week. Remember, if you don't do anything else this week, be sure that you live, you laugh, and you love. As always, it's a pleasure and a privilege. We'll talk again on the next show. Peace, everybody. Take care.